All right, so we got a brand new slasher from the UK, and this one is called Punch. And wouldn't you know it, the killer in this is a man dressed up like a Mr. Punch doll. Yeah, so in the States here in America, we know about like the Punch and Judy dolls, but they're not really a staple of our country. So like I know of them, but I think maybe where this is from, so there could be some kind of like cultural divide here on this image. Maybe it's a big deal over there, but I've seen them a little bit, so I don't know how important that image and these like characters, if you want to call them, are to the United Kingdom. But to me, I have very little frame of reference when it comes to them. Not that you really need it exactly, but as far as like the story goes, so we got this girl, she's like leaving town. Her mom and her have a rocky relationship. And then she has a boyfriend that she kind of walked out on, and they meet up, and there's drama going on between them, and her friend and her are hanging out in town and going to parties and, taking drugs and getting up to no good while this guy in the punch mask is going around and killing people for whatever reason. I couldn't even really discern what the actual reasons were. Like they kind of said it, but I was like, I don't know if that all adds up, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's just there for slashing. And that's essentially what this is throughout. It's a slasher film. As a huge slasher fan, I find myself to be one of the authorities on slashers. So I always do like watching these and judging them fairly because, I always want to give movies a fair shake. When this started out, I was like, okay, like we might have something here. This is fairly well shot. It looks, it's in that tier where I had said it's not quite B, it's not quite A, it's like a B minus A or B plus A minus kind of area. So the film stock and everything looked fine, looked good. The acting from everybody was good. It was, I like our lead girl. She's good. Her relationship with her mom and their banter back and forth felt pretty genuine. Her friendship with her friend, the chemistry there back and forth felt pretty authentic for the most part. So, all that stuff was working. And because it's the United Kingdom film, they take their silly, like branded IP horror, especially like the public domain, I would assume this is, like the Jack in the Box movies, like the Humpty Dumpty movies, like Mary Had a Little Lamb, the slasher from last year. They always take these very seriously. And it's interesting because if we make these kinds of movies in the United States, they're almost always, like playful, silly, self-aware, satire type movies. And this one, no. This one is very serious. It tries to be very dramatic. It tries to really do something. And unfortunately, like most of these, it just fails in some key areas. One of which, of course, is the kills. There's like maybe one kill that's okay. The rest of the kills are just lame, unforgettable, not interesting, off screen, most of them. If they are on screen, they're just kind of whatever. And for me, it's like if you're going to make a slasher, you've got to put aside some of the budget. Whatever that budget is, you've got to take a percentage of that budget and you've just got to put it towards kills. You just have to. In the modern era, unless you're not, unless that's not the kind of film you're trying to make. But it's always odd to me that anyone would want to make a slasher film, especially like independently, where they're not really to the mercy of the producers. Like maybe like a Blumhouse does or something, like a Happy Death Day, where it's like if Christopher Landon had the go ahead, would he have made that movie R-rated and had better kills and everything? I don't know. But the film is so strong on its own, it works. I know I always bring it up as an example, but there's very few examples of modern slashers that can do it. Now, classic slashers like Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Black Christmas, Psycho, They can do it because they have style oozing from the film. They have perfect atmosphere. They have cool characters. They have amazing soundtracks. You like, they make up in those areas where you just don't need it. But when you have a film like this that isn't providing all of those essential ingredients to be able to look past it, and we are just kind of making a more visceral piece of entertainment here, it feels very lacking when it's not there for us to view. So the kills in movies like this really are important. I know some people aren't gore hounds, and they're like, well, I don't need it. And it's like, well, then you're not going to get a whole hell of a lot else from this, because you're mostly just following a girl around as she's having some issues with her parent, and then, kind of partying with her friends. And what we're here for ultimately is the slashing. It is the horror. It is the fun of the exploitative nature of slasher films. And because this film doesn't deliver in that area, the other flaws kind of have a spotlight on them, because you don't make up for it in the areas that you're lacking with, like, great kills, or like, hot naked chicks, or like kind of classic slasher tropes that they use in more visceral exploitive films, as I had said, to kind of distract away from the qualities of the film that are maybe less developed. So yeah, that was one area. As far as I had said, the story, it's all just kind of generic, right? It's like the girl, it's her last day in town, she's getting out of town, her boyfriend and her are having some issues, their dialogue back and forth is not all that interesting. The character who plays her friend and her, like, the things that they're talking about, like, they're entertaining-ish enough. It's just like kind of basic banter that you would hear between people, but there's nothing really compelling to keep you focused on, like, the relationships and the drama within, that you're like, okay, this is enough to drive this story, right? Like, if the film doesn't deliver on the kills, at least I'm going to be so invested in our characters and what their goals are that I can look past the fact that these things are missing. And it's just not there. It's just kind of people hanging out. And the reason a film like Terrifier has been able to be as popular as it is, it's not because it has some amazing story. It's not because it has, the greatest characters and this deep, rich plot or anything. No, I mean, it has a cool looking villain. In the second movie and the first movie, but the second movie in particular, you've got Lauren Lavera, who, is just unbelievably gorgeous and charismatic, and you love looking at her and listening to her, and she can do pretty much anything. But her character isn't written all that, like, deep or anything. What really makes that film work is its kills, because it does deliver what the slasher fans are looking for in a movie like this, right? And because it has, so this is why I'm always so baffled that more slasher films don't do it. And it's like, if you don't have the budget to do it, then you need to wait till you do. Or you need to cut areas budget and put them into the kills. And if you're not somebody who really wants to put kills in their films, then slashers aren't really for you. So this is where I'm always confused by the desire to make a slasher film without the slashing, right? It'd be like a porn without the sex. It's kind of like no one's there for the story. Not that you can't make a great, compelling story. You can, but you didn't. So it has to have the kills. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah. It was okay, watchable-ish, but that's not a praise from me. That's not a recommendation. That's not me sitting here giving it any kind of, like, go ahead or thumbs up for you to pull the trigger on it. I think if you're just kind of a slasher fanatic and you're a completist and you want to see any slasher that is, like, okay, that is watchable enough, then yeah, you could throw this one on. It's not terrible. And that's the kind of thing where it's like, if this had great kills and it maybe rewrote a couple aspects of the script, tightened them up a little bit, added a little more oomph in what they were trying to be successful on with the dramatic gut punch of the reveal and what all of that. It wasn't really there as much as it probably wanted to be. So if we had tweaked that a bit and had some very memorable kills, and the killer had a more iconic look and outfit to them, then you'd have something here. You'd have something where I'd be like, hell yeah, man, we got another kick-ass slasher y'all need to check out. But a channel like this and others like me are not going to give movies like this glowing reviews unless they really pack a punch in one or two areas. So that's my 2 cents on this. It's kind of my 2 cents on most of these slashers like this. I feel like I could just take this review right here, copy and paste it to most of these slashers that I watch now, especially the ones from the UK that take themselves seriously, like that Mary Had a Little Lamb movie I talked about. It's probably the exact same shit I said about that one, right? Because I feel the same way every time I watch one of these. So I hate to be redundant, I hate to sit here and kind of say the same shit over and over, but that's how it goes. So that's the reality of this. So anyways, that's that Punch. I saw this actually on Fandango at Home, which used to be Vudu. It's on there for free to watch with ads. They have some movies here and there that you can watch with ads. Mostly you have to pay for it. But with this one, I saw that it was on there for free, and I was like, perfect, this is the place I'm going to check it out. So this had ads to break it up, to add to the runtime, which I was not too fond of in the moment because I wasn't in love with it. But yeah, man, just throw in some badass kills. If you make another movie, just make sure you set aside the budget. Anyway, you heard what I had to say. I'm done. I'm not here to fucking tell people how to do their shit. I'm just here to tell you what movies to watch or not watch. All right, bye, guys.